Imagine being thrown into a world where every word you say feels like walking on thin ice. A place where one mistake can cost you more than just your confidence. It could cost your career. Hello, everyone. My name is William, and today I want to take you through a story that will not only grip your heart, but also teach valuable lessons about overcoming challenges in life and work. This video is designed to improve your English listening and speaking skills while keeping you engaged with emotional twists, dramatic moments, and inspiring themes. But here's the twist. This isn't just any ordinary workplace tale. It's a journey of resilience, justice, and karma. A story so real it might remind you of someone you know, or even yourself. By the end of this video, you'll uncover how an unexpected mentor changed everything for a newcomer named Ethan. Stay tuned because halfway through, there's a revelation that will leave you questioning whether success truly comes from hard work alone, or if destiny plays its part too. Let's dive in. Ethan sat in his car outside Apex Innovations, staring at the towering glass building that shimmered under the morning sun. His heart raced as he clutched the steering wheel tightly. This was it, the dream job he had worked so hard for. But deep down, a voice whispered, "What if I'm not good enough?" Taking a deep breath, Ethan stepped out of the car and walked into the buzzing office. The air smelled faintly of coffee and fresh paint, and everywhere he looked, people were typing furiously on their keyboards or talking animatedly in hushed tones. He felt like an outsider watching a world he didn't belong to yet. His manager, Mr. Carter, greeted him warmly and introduced him to the team. Names flew past Ethan's ears: Rachel, Daniel, Priya, but none stuck. All he could focus on was how everyone seemed to speak a language he barely understood. Words like synergy, KPIs, and quarterly projections bounced around the room, leaving him confused and overwhelmed. By lunchtime, Ethan's confidence was already waning. During a meeting earlier that day, he tried to contribute but stumbled over his words when asked about his thoughts on a project. The awkward silence afterward haunted him. As he sat alone in the cafeteria, picking at his sandwich, he couldn't help but wonder if he'd made a mistake accepting this role. That's when Sarah appeared. She carried herself with quiet authority, her silver-streaked hair pulled back neatly into a bun. Without asking, she slid into the seat across from Ethan. For a moment, neither spoke. Then Sarah broke the silence. "Do you believe in second chances?" she asked abruptly. Ethan blinked, caught off guard by the question. Before he could respond, Sarah leaned forward slightly, her eyes softening. "Let me tell you something," she began. "When I first started here, I made a huge mistake. A client presentation gone horribly wrong. People lost money because of my error. I thought my career was over." She paused, letting the weight of her words sink in. But sometimes, failure teaches us more than success ever could. What matters is what you do after falling. For the first time since arriving at Apex, Ethan felt a flicker of hope. Maybe he wasn't alone in feeling lost. Just as Ethan opened his mouth to thank Sarah, she added, "I didn't sit here by accident, Ethan. Someone noticed you struggling and sent me to talk to you." His stomach dropped. Who had been watching him? And why did they care? As they parted ways, Sarah handed Ethan a small sticky note with 3 cryptic words written on it. "Listen before speaking." What did she mean? And why those specific words? Ethan stared at the sticky note Sarah had given him. Listen before speaking. The words seemed simple enough, but their meaning eluded him. What exactly was he supposed to listen for? Over the next few days, Sarah became a constant presence in his life, albeit subtly. She didn't hover or micromanage. Instead, she dropped casual observations during coffee breaks or hallway encounters. Notice how Rachel always waits until the end of a meeting to share her thoughts? Sarah remarked one afternoon as they passed by the conference room. "She's strategic. People are too tired to argue by then." At first, Ethan found this exercise frustrating. He wanted to jump into conversations, to prove himself. But Sarah's advice lingered in his mind, urging him to slow down. Gradually, he began observing the dynamics of the office more closely. He noticed how some voices dominated discussions while others faded into the background. He saw how certain phrases carried more weight than others, how timing mattered just as much as content. One day, during a brainstorming session, Ethan witnessed something that made his blood boil. A junior colleague named Lisa presented an innovative idea to improve customer engagement. Her pitch was clear and well-researched, yet one of the senior managers dismissed it with a wave of his hand. "Let's stick to what works," he said dismissively, moving on without further discussion. Lisa's face fell, and Ethan felt a surge of anger. How could someone so blatantly disregard such a thoughtful contribution? Then he remembered Sarah's sticky note. Instead of reacting impulsively, he took a deep breath and raised his hand. "I think Lisa's idea has merit," he said calmly. "Could we explore why it might work, or why it won't?" The room grew quiet. All eyes turned to Ethan, who suddenly felt exposed. For a moment, he feared he'd overstepped. But then another colleague nodded thoughtfully, adding, "Actually, I see potential there too." Soon, the conversation shifted. Ideas flowed freely, and Lisa's proposal became the foundation of a revised strategy. When the meeting ended, several people approached Ethan to commend him for speaking up. It was a small victory, but it filled him with pride. That evening, Sarah pulled Ethan aside in the parking lot. "You've started seeing things differently, haven't you?" she asked, her tone warm yet probing. Ethan nodded, still buzzing from the day's events. "I guess listening really does make a difference." Sarah smiled faintly but quickly sobered. "But remember, not all mentors have pure intentions." Her words sent a chill down Ethan's spine. Before he could ask what she meant, Sarah continued, her voice dropping to a whisper. "Years ago, someone betrayed me here, someone I trusted completely. They used my mistakes against me, and it nearly destroyed my career." As Ethan processed this revelation, Sarah added cryptically, "Be careful who you trust. Not everyone has your best interests at heart." With that, she turned and walked away, leaving Ethan standing alone in the dimly lit parking lot. Who had betrayed Sarah? And why did she feel the need to warn him now? The days following Sarah's cryptic warning were tense for Ethan. Her words echoed in his mind. Be careful who you trust. He couldn't shake the feeling that something was brewing beneath the surface at Apex Innovations. Though he tried to focus on his work, his instincts told him to stay vigilant. One afternoon, the office buzzed with unusual energy. Whispers traveled through cubicles, and hushed conversations stopped abruptly whenever Ethan approached. Curious, he lingered near the break room and overheard fragments of gossip. Leaked confidential data. HR is investigating. Sarah's name came up. Ethan froze. Could Sarah be involved? The thought seemed absurd. She had been nothing but supportive to him. Yet doubt crept in, gnawing at his trust. Determined to get answers, he sought her out later that day. He found Sarah in a quiet corner of the office, staring out the window with an unreadable expression. When she noticed Ethan, she didn't smile or greet him as usual. Instead, she gestured for him to sit beside her. What's going on? Ethan asked, his voice tinged with urgency. I heard rumors about leaked information. Is it true? Sarah hesitated, then sighed deeply. Yes, I did leak the information, she admitted. But not for personal gain. It exposed unethical practices that hurt both employees and customers. I couldn't stay silent anymore. Her confession stunned Ethan. He struggled to reconcile this revelation with the woman who had mentored him so patiently. Was she a hero or a villain? Sometimes, Sarah said solemnly, doing the right thing means risking everything. Ethan wrestled with conflicting emotions. On one hand, he admired Sarah's courage. On the other, he feared the consequences. For her, and possibly for himself if anyone discovered his connection to her. Determined to uncover the truth, Ethan began digging deeper. Late one night, while reviewing old emails, he stumbled upon something shocking. Evidence implicating another colleague in framing Sarah. Someone had deliberately altered documents to make it appear as though Sarah was responsible for the leak. Now Ethan faced a moral dilemma. Should he expose the real culprit and risk drawing attention to himself? Or should he stay silent to protect his own career? As Ethan grappled with his decision, he received an anonymous message on his phone. Keep your mouth shut if you know what's good for you. The threat sent chills down his spine. Whoever was behind this wasn't playing games, and they knew he was onto them. With mounting pressure and no clear path forward, Ethan realized he was standing at a crossroads. Would he have the courage to do what was right, even if it meant sacrificing everything? Ethan sat alone in his dimly lit apartment, staring at the evidence on his laptop screen. The anonymous threat replayed in his mind over and over again. Keep your mouth shut if you know what's good for you. His hands trembled as he weighed his options. Staying silent would protect him from retaliation, but it would also mean letting injustice prevail. Could he live with that? After hours of restless deliberation, Ethan made his decision. Early the next morning, he marched into HR with the incriminating documents saved on a USB drive. His heart pounded as he explained everything: the framed emails, the real culprit, and Sarah's role in exposing corruption. To his relief, the HR manager listened intently, promising a thorough investigation. Over the next few weeks, tension simmered in the office. Rumors swirled about who was involved, and some colleagues began treating Ethan with suspicion. One senior executive even confronted him directly, accusing him of stirring trouble. But Ethan stood firm, reminding himself why he had come forward: to do what was right. When the dust settled, the truth emerged. The real culprit, a mid-level manager named Greg, was exposed for orchestrating the smear campaign against Sarah. It turned out Greg had been embezzling funds and feared Sarah's revelations would expose his crimes. With overwhelming evidence against him, Greg was fired, and legal action followed. Sarah, meanwhile, was vindicated. Though grateful for Ethan's bravery, she warned him that standing up for justice often came at a cost. People won't forget this, she said quietly. Some will admire you, but others will resent you. Be prepared for both. True enough, Ethan faced backlash from certain coworkers who viewed him as a whistleblower. Yet, to his surprise, many others, including influential figures within the company, admired his integrity. Offers for new opportunities began pouring in, signaling a turning point in his career. Months later, as Ethan prepared for a major project presentation, Sarah approached him with a rare smile. "You've grown beyond what I expected," she said warmly. "Remember, adversity shapes us, but only if we let it." As they parted ways, Sarah added cryptically, "Our paths may cross again someday, when you least expect it." Sarah receiving a mysterious phone call offering her a leadership role at a rival firm. Was this karma rewarding her for her sacrifices? Or was it another chapter waiting to unfold? That evening, Ethan reflected on his journey. He thought about all the challenges he'd faced, from his initial struggles to finding his voice and ultimately standing up for justice. For the first time, he realized that true success wasn't about titles or accolades. It was about staying true to oneself, no matter the cost. As he gazed out the window at the city lights, Ethan felt a quiet pride swelling inside him. He had started as a nervous newcomer, unsure of his place in the world. Now, he was someone who dared to make a difference, even when it was hard. And deep down, he knew that was worth more than any promotion. Did Ethan's journey inspire you? If yes, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more stories like this. Share this video with friends who need motivation or guidance. They'll thank you for it. Also, tell us in the comments, who has been your mentor, and how did they change your life?